Okay, what I'm going to show you are three Steadicam techniques or ways of using a tripod so you get smoother footage. There's always a problem with, particularly when filming with DSLRs, when you're holding the camera like this, you try and tuck your arms in to make it that much more stable, but you still end up getting that shake from your hands, and it's really difficult to get rid of. And DSLRs are particularly bad for that because they're quite light cameras, but also DV cameras have that image stabilization built in. The DSLRs do have it on the lens, but they're not quite as good as DV cameras for that. So how do we get good image stabilization? Well, there's one technique, very simple technique. You place the camera on top of your tripod like this. The extra weight and a bit of a counterbalance at the bottom here mean that you can get rid of the shake. As long as you don't grip it, you hold it loosely like this, so simply like that, and you try and keep it steady and sort of move it around like this. It works reasonably well. It's not amazing, particularly when it comes to this sort of movement. You can even hold this, but you mustn't grab like that, otherwise it transfers the shake into the tripod again. So it's this movement here that ends up looking shaky, so when you're trying to pan. So instead of panning, you have to sort of move around like this, okay? So you slowly move around, and it's a bit of an art still, and it does take a bit of practice. The other technique, which is probably slightly better but a bit more awkward, is to extend all the legs out like so. Okay, and then bring your tripod head down so it's level, like this. And the reason for this is, I probably won't display the legs that much, is to try and find the middle point. Just about there. Okay. And this will keep, as it works as a counterbalance again, you've got the front and the back with the same weight. Obviously I'll have the camera on the end, the camera's there at the moment, so it's not on the end. And you'll probably need to come this way a bit more because they'll have more weight on the end, so your counterbalance will be closer up. You can always extend the end as well, using your wheelie bit here and whatsoever. Okay, so you're trying to find the counterbalance, and then you can move that around, and I'll show you some footage like that in a second. And your aim, that's one of the problems with this, is that you've got these huge legs sticking out the back, depending on the weight of the camera, and they might knock against things and that will ruin your shot. But it does work. The other thing to note about it is don't just stand upright and move around and move your arm up and down like this. Try and keep all this level, so bend your knees and walk a little bit weirdly, but sort of flat-footed, so to try and get that smooth shot. And can you see that should be fairly stable? Just trying to keep that in the same position as you move around. A little bit tricky because you're trying to look at your viewfinder, look at maybe the action as well, and trying to not bump into things with the back there. But I'll show you some footage of what that looks like in a second. Lastly, it's not an image stabilization technique, but it's quite a handy one for trying to get this sort of professional looking jib shot. You change your tripod into a monopod with one leg. You get your, you can loosen this off, and then you can move in with a sort of tracking jib shot into the camera, and you can move it across like this as well, so you get this sort of track shot again. Okay, so moving it around like this. The only problem is you can't go like that because it turns your camera, so it's sort of basically an in and out one, but quite a nice option. Okay, so hopefully those three techniques should help you. Plenty of other options on YouTube. There's people who are holding it upside down and swinging it like a pendulum. That's another option. Look them up, see what's best for you.